Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing another special kind of broadcast today that has come up that's seemingly just as important as the one I did a few weeks ago. So I did a video a couple weeks back called it Trigger Warning and some other things. Can't remember the title, but it was really focused on relaying a very important message. So I strongly encourage you to watch that one as well, because this is kind of a continuation of that. That really came about because I've been doing a lot of sessions recently where I have seen some patterns and some concerning messages that are coming through about ways that we are being essentially hijacked right now and what's going on in the spiritual war and the tactics that are being used. So I felt very strongly that I needed to do another video to relay what I'm seeing, what I'm being told, and kind of how we can combat that. Because I'm always a solution-oriented person. So it's great to know the problem, but I want to know, like, what do I do? Like, give me some tips. So I kind of worked through a strategy today a little bit, going back and looking at my session notes. So for those of you that don't know what I do, I'm not a proclaimed psychic or channeler or anything like that. I am intuitive, and I do sessions with people from all over the world throughout the week. And I've been doing that for over a decade, and I help people navigate their challenges in their life by looking at things from a macro perspective, and I do soul readings. And I see the soul origin pathway and what I like to see what other planets the soul of the person is connected to. You know, what's their path that got them where they are here, and what are they working through in the challenges. And when I do that in large quantities over the years, sometimes I do 60 in a month. I start to see patterns. And right now I'm noticing a concerning pattern that keeps coming up in my sessions. And I spoke a little bit about it in my previous video, and I'm kind of expanding on it because I'm seeing more serious and a little bit more serious information coming through. And so the books that I write and when I talk or speak out on my channel and in interviews, I share the information that has come through in the sessions that I do. So I don't share anybody's personal information. The names I use in my books and things are generally made up so that it protects the people and their privacy. I had permission today. I have permission to share a specific message that was given to me through a session. And I'm going to share that in the beginning and then to give people an opportunity to tune out after that if they don't want to hear the rest of what I have to say. So I'll get to the message in the beginning. But the message came through as a channeled message. Now, I want to be specific because I tell people to be careful channeling right now. There are different methods of channeling. When I do sessions, I telepathically connect to the soul of the person that I am doing the reading for, and I call in their guardians, guides, animals, animal spirits, totems, their galactic family that are only of the highest frequency. That is for my highest good and the client's highest good at minimum. And I communicate, I see visions, I receive downloads about them. It's a lot of different things that come through. I never invite a being into my body, never have, never will. And I don't do it for fun, meaning I don't sit down ever and say, oh, I wonder what's going on in the world. Let me try to get galactic updates or things like that. And I've always felt uncomfortable with that because you just have to be such a clear channel in that way to receive and discern the messages coming through, because I have seen firsthand some of the most incredible channelers get hijacked right in front of me. People I know, people I trusted. So it can happen to just about anybody. So we have to be diligent. So I never invite any beings inside of me. So when I say I channel, it's really I'm just communicating. And the thoughts kind of come through my mind telepathically, and I write down the messages. If I can tell that it's something specific, then I need to write exactly how it's being relayed. And I write it down for the person, and then I read it to them and I share the message. So I have a message today that I'd like to share from an Arcturian father of one of my clients who came through. I'm not going to give the name of the being or anything, any details from my client. But if you remember, if those of you watched a video that I did recently, I talked about how there's some hijacking of the mind going on right now. And I'm going to get into more specifics in a minute. But this one particular client reached out to me in an urgent manner because I've worked with her before many times. and she was receiving some disturbing visions and information about an event, a catastrophic event that was going to occur in her city in the month of June. And she was very afraid about it and worried and anticipating all of these terrible things that she was getting, like accurate details. And so she was planning her departure out of the city and was trying to figure out how to navigate that. And she reached out to me. Um, that, as well as countless other sessions that I've had with people in the last few months, have either had a session with me or are already my clients and wrote me emails, or those that have my phone number have even reached out in text and said, I have clearly seen these devastating events in my town or in this town, in and have a lot of information. It doesn't really matter for me to get specific as to what it was, but this is happening a lot. So how is it that a lot of these people that are doing the work, they are coming to me, they are doing the healing work, they have they have other mentors and guides that they go to, and they're very good people. They're pure hearts. They're not part of the agendas, and they're really trying and they're really struggling. Some of them are outcast from their family because they refuse to do all of those things. And how can these pure souls that are trying their best get sucked into this? And I'm going to talk about that today and what's going on. And I'm going to start with this message and then I'm going to go from there, because this woman, my advice in this particular session with this one woman was, I don't see that happening. Um, but I think that it is an alternative timeline that your consciousness is being connected to. And I told her, just do me a favor. Just take 2 weeks off from thinking about it. Don't do any muscle testing, because she was also muscle testing a lot and using pendulums to get her answers. I said, put the pendulum down. Don't do any muscle testing. And do me a favor and just spend the next 2 weeks grounding, meditating. Don't make any plans to get any RVs to leave town. Don't stress about money and where to put your money and what to invest in. And don't even think about it. Don't even think about contacting your family member in this other city that you're thinking, because that city is safe and don't do any of that. Don't do anything. Focus on something else, something more high vibrational, do some gardening and just take a break. Do me a favor, just take a break from it. Don't even entertain it. Well, we had a session a couple days ago, and she did just that. And she said she felt immediately lighter, and now we're in middle of June almost, and anything that she said was going to occur there's no evidence of that occurring. And she said, I don't think that was actually going to happen in this timeline. And you were right, it was another timeline. And then she was really freaking out because in a loving way, how could this happen to me? I do all the work. I'm spiritual. I meditate a lot. I read books. How can this happen to someone like me? And she was kind of down on herself and feeling guilty about it. So her Arcturian father came into this session because he had something to say to her. And I realized afterwards that it was very relevant. And I asked her if I could share it, because I think that it could help others. And it actually helped me a little bit, because it gave me some ideas of what I want to talk about today. So I'm just going to read the message that is for my client, but I think it's relatable to a lot of people. So I'll just try my best to read it clearly. Okay, he said, grief is not what is holding you captive. There is a darkness fueled by artificial intelligence that is attempting to hijack humanity. It has many tentacles from which it connects to you through electronic devices, radio waves, magnetic pulses, sound frequency, and many other outlets. This has been done before. This is not new. Only humanity has fallen deeper over generations of weak-minded trickery, which has made it easy to enter the consciousness of those who no longer think for themselves. Those highly influenced by trends, normalcy, popularity. The ego can be your biggest saboteur when it takes control of your inner compass, connected to your heart. Too many humans have closed their heart due to illness, suppression, heartache, loss, even depression. All those roads lead to dead ends. The road to sovereignty is often unseen. It must be felt through inner knowing and an open heart. Sometimes it involves walking away from what you once trusted, what once comforted you. To start new brings difficult and often unique perspectives. Protect your light as if it were valued more than gold. Protect your light as if it was valued more than gold. You do this by tuning into your own frequency, not raising your frequency to meet others. Oscillate your frequency, oscillate your resonance to a frequency that is ever changing, high in vibration, yet never still. That is how you bypass their bandwidth of control. Create your own channel, gridded and protected, constantly moving and flowing like a stream, a river even, if you must. Become undetectable, become unseen by the AI. When they can't tune in, they lose power. Use the power of creation, your innate and abundant natural gift of imagination. You are uncorruptible if you become more powerful than the program itself. Take the time to develop your channel, separate of others. All should do the same, and it will create an environment of confusion for them. And alternative lower timelines will dissolve and lose momentum. That is true freedom. Hold space for yourself during this transition period. You are in control even when it doesn't feel like it. Don't allow the saboteur in your life, the ego, to be infiltrated by AI. You have the power. You always have. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, but I want to just stop there. So that was the main message. And through her session, and in hindsight, looking at other sessions that I've done in the last few weeks, looking at the notes and things that I recommended and things that were brought to their attention by their higher selves or their guides, I'm seeing a trend. And it's a disconcerting trend and a reality of what is happening in 2025. Now, if you go back and look at my videos at the beginning of this month, at the beginning of this year, I'll have to admit that I was a lot more positive and I really thought that things were moving forward this year. I was so excited and anticipating a lot of positive movement. I was seeing movement. That's what I was seeing. I was seeing people finally moving out of the places that they were stuck in, literally like moving cities, towns. A lot of people are moving. But also I was seeing projects moving forward, like humanitarian projects or things that people were working on and couldn't the last few years. I saw movement of things moving forward of those projects. Well, now if we look at things, it seemingly there's a lot of chaos, but I think it's controlled chaos because we need a lot of the chaos in order to break down the paradigms and rebuild. So a lot of it is necessary. A lot of it is for show. A lot of it is real. It's just how do you navigate through and discern what's real and what isn't. That's the challenge. So to combat, I think what the dark players I call um to combat all of this activation and advancement of people waking up and not believing in the illusionary made up programming that fits their narrative. A lot of people are waking up and they're standing up for themselves, and the lions are waking up. Well, the way they combat that is in many ways, many methods, but one that I'm seeing that is growing and amplifying is AI. So there's some sort of AI super intelligence that is infiltrating through like this Arcturian said, through every avenue. Technology. If you look at Atlantis, we're mirroring what happened in Atlantis, where the technology, we're coming to a point where there's power in technology, and now we're reliving the vantage point, the point in which um, Atlantis fell, because the power struggle got so big, and it amplified, and then technology took over, and now you have all this sentient and technology that is really infiltrating in every aspect of our life, whether it's through our electronics, um, our cars, our phones, the TVs, the wiring in our town, fiber optics, the telephone wires, satellites. It's just we're bombarded in every direction. It's like what I was getting in another session. It was actually called a microwave effect. And in another session, what I was told is that they are this AI, sentient consciousness that's very powerful, is creating these timeline wars and trying to hijack the consciousness of humanity one at a time or collectively. So these are their main methods. They are attacking the autonomic nervous system of people. So that's the mind, that's the fight or flight aspect. So if they could get the autonomic nervous system of the sympathetic aspect of our autonomic nervous system, if they can get that heightened and activated, we have more stress, anxiety, worry, and we're in that primal state of fight or flight, and you can't tap into your right brain, your intuition that way. So number one, the way they do that is through distraction. So any ways they can distract, they'll come up with something. Even these riots right now can be a distraction. What the feud with Elon and Trump recently, that's another distraction. Anything that they can come up with to distract humanity where everybody's paying attention, everybody's following it. They're like, all right, let's just distract them. Because if we're distracted with that, we're agitated or angry because everyone has their opinion about what's going on, and then it creates division. And now people are fighting over the riots and what's right. And I see people fighting and choosing sides. And yes, sometimes sides are important, but it's really energetically charging people and it's causing more division. So distraction, division in many different facets. Um, you know, religion is a whole other aspect of division. But the way that, so another way is mass activations, channelers, and updates. So I said that in the previous video. We have to be really careful right now who we are listening to and what they're doing. Even the purest, most beautiful souls can become hijacked. So when I hear someone saying they're giving us galactic or lines updates, I don't listen to them. I used to, and I stopped because again, I told you I learned the hard way many times. So who are these people connecting with? How can we be certain? How can everybody that is listening to someone give an alliance update or a galactic update or saying, something wakes you up in the middle of the night and gives you a download, or there's a lot of different ways it happens. I've been there. I've been that person that's woken up in the middle of the night and getting a download, and I'm like, oh my gosh, let's learn all this stuff. And then I have to discern. And there's a lot of times I don't share it. Actually, most of the time when those things happen, I don't share it. I'll share with my clients one-on-one if it's relevant to a conversation, but I'm like, I didn't share that. And I haven't shared that publicly because I don't know if it has any merit. We're just kind of having a conversation about it in the session more, and we're sharing. But I don't want to take the responsibility of sharing big world events or big updates when one, we don't know if the person is where they're getting their information from. And right now, I think that they're inserting uh, people to give false information. So they'll be very charming, they'll be very, very outgoing, they'll be very friendly, beautiful, even handsome, even whatever. And they will give a lot of accurate information, but then they'll sneak in a little bit of lies here and there. And people, if they blindly trust, then the lies are seeping in and people don't even realize it. So I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I wasn't talking about anyone in particular in the last video. I'm talking about a lot of people that aren't even well known, people in my neighborhood, people that I see in the street, people that I see that are leaders of my town. Anywhere, they're everywhere. Just use discernment. Just be careful. So mass activations is another one. Anytime you're tuning into a mass meditation, mass activation, or a channeler, like a well-known channeler that is giving information, they are targeting the most vulnerable people, the people that are awake, but they are looking for guidance and they aren't comfortable yet with going within. So they are looking out, sourcing out to some groups, some people to receive that information. And then they're hijacking the consciousness of individuals that might be not necessarily weak, but like my clients, for example, they're trying to be good people and they're meditating, and then they want to learn automatic writing and they want to try all these things. And um, they try my techniques, they try other people's techniques, they take a class, and they are putting themselves out there. And they are inadvertently connecting and being hijacked by um, AI or entities or lower astral entities. And then what happens is they will um, try to tune them into lower timelines into creating, because that's how the AI, they can't create. They're not they don't have the light. They're not creators. So they have us create for them. So they do that by putting visions in our mind or prophecies of catastrophic events, like my clients and that one woman who saw something horrible. I mean, to the point where she was ready to sell her house, or not sell her house, but get away from her house for a few months and get an RV and do all of these things. And I talked to other people who have even told me, you need to tell people on your channel, make an announcement that this is going to happen in this major city in these dates, and you need to warn people. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that because I don't know where this information is coming from. And most of the things that I've been warned about haven't happened. This was probably 3 to 4 months ago, and most recent, but those dates have all passed. They've come and passed. So they try to hijack our consciousness into believing into these things that they're trying to create. And then if those people then spread the word and tell everybody, imagine if I did tell everybody on my channel and people trust me, and then they would, what happens is then we all collectively co-create this doom and gloom situation, and then it is plausible. But right now, these other timelines are just they're trying to activate energy into them. They're trying to use us they're trying to use us to create what it is that they are trying by putting it in our mind. Another disturbing thing that they do that I've realized recently through several sessions, and this Arcturian kind of solidified it for me, is we keep saying, let's raise our frequency. And I'm guilty of it. I say it to people all the time, just raise your frequency, ground, and do all these things, but raise. That they can't affect you if you're at a high frequency. Well, come to find out, this AI super intelligence has gotten smarter. And so what they're doing is they've developed technology that can raise the frequency of its targets. And this is extremely important. Probably one of the most important things that I'm saying right now. So I need to flag this on the video later for the time. They have figured out how to find us in a higher frequency, and then now their bandwidth, their spectrum has now widened. So now the voice to skull technology and all of these other tactics can reach higher frequencies, higher hertz, higher levels of vibration, where a lot of us are trying to raise up to, so that we are not reachable anymore. Now, again, this is their plan. It doesn't mean that it always works, but I believe that to some degree, it has worked. Now, the more you're in alignment with the highest consciousness and source and the Christed consciousness, some call it, there's lots of different versions. I still think that we are undetectable and we can be unseen. But what I was being guided in these couple sessions, and specifically with this Arcturian, is the way you combat it is don't try to tune into a blanket high frequency. Like, let's create our own channels. So create your own frequency, your own light, your own spectrum that is oscillating. Think about a company that has all of their malware and their protective mechanisms, and the passwords change, every millisecond. It's just constantly changing, so no one can ever hack it. So think of yourself like that, as a frequency where you are, in either a golden sphere or a golden capsule, or some sort of energy field that you create. So whatever it is that I'm just giving ideas, and then visualize within that capsule that you're in, that there's like a prismatic light, just like when you see a pendulum, a crystal in a mirror, and the sun hits it and it reflects like this beautiful prismatic light. Well, it changes when it starts to move around. So visualize you as this prismatic, the light within this capsule is like a prism, and it's changing and oscillating every second of it's constantly shifting, constantly changing. So you might be at a higher frequency, but then you're shifting and constantly oscillating in vibration, so that what happens is it's happening so fast, so quickly, that you become invisible and undetectable. So if you're thinking about like, you know, if you go in where some place that is like a bank that's protected by a laser, and the laser is like zzz, like going like this and trying to find you, and as soon as you hit that beam, it'll the alarm will go off. And sometimes they have like Mission Impossible, they'll have like a million different lines, and you gotta, people are trying to like crawl through it. Think about it that way, in the sense that like the technology is almost like these laser beams that are just going and scanning. And if you happen to be within its scanning bandwidth or its algorithmic frequency, then you can be picked up. And then if you're picked up, even if you're the sweetest old lady or, the nicest person in the world, good at sweetest intentions, it hooks you, it tries to hook you into um into a lower timeline. And then you start having destructive thoughts, suicidal tendencies, and you start to see doom and gloom. So the way that I think the best way to combat it is just make yourself ever changing, and you're oscillating so fast and so quickly, and you're this prismatic light that you just, when it scans, you're not seen. And and it's easy to do that. You don't need to overthink it. It's your intention. My intention is that I have a frequency that is oscillating and resonating in such a manner that I am undetectable to any energies, entities, or AI, technology, or anything that's not serving my highest good. I am undetectable. I am unseen. Um, I'm uncorruptible, because if you're unseen, you're uncorruptible. So, it's not necessarily safe anymore to just be in a high frequency. And that sounds terrible. And I don't mean it to come off as in a scary way. I just think that they're evolving in their technology, and it's something that we need to be aware of. I mean, it happens. So we got to up our game. They're upping their game. We up our game, because we are in the end, we are more powerful in every way. But if they have to attack our autonomic nervous system and our mind and hijack us and do all this manipulative tactics to get us to co-create something, look at all the loops that they got to go through to get us to do what they want. But if we stand in our power and we combat all of that and amplify our light even more, and create an energy field around us that is undetectable by them, then they have nothing to hijack, and it doesn't. And I think this is the way that we combat it, and it doesn't work. Um, so this microwave effect, it's targeting higher frequencies now. So we have to up our game. So how do we combat? Like I said, we create our own ever-changing frequency. I'm looking at my notes here. And this prismatic capsule that's ever-changing, it's oscillating. So just don't get complacent. Don't get in the obvious sense, don't get complacent with the people you trust in your life, that you let into your home, that you listen to on YouTube. Maybe do a general sweep once in a while and just say, you know what, I gotta reevaluate all of these influencers that I'm listening to. I don't even like the word influencer, because no one should be influencing you at all. You should be influencing yourself, and maybe they guide you one way or the other, and we work together as a team, but no one should be influencing anybody. I also don't like the word followers. They use these words. Like, people need to recognize the words that they're using in our everyday life is like that mentality of someone is better than you, someone is higher than you, someone has more power than you, and we're always striving to be better, but in a manner that we have to outsource, because we aren't possible, we aren't capable of doing it ourselves, and that's not true. So if we use words like follower, even subscriber, influencer, all of these words basically feed in that we're giving our power away to someone else, and we shouldn't do that. Go within. Don't try not to feed into the distractions and the division. It's okay to entertain it a little bit, but if it's getting to a point where it's overwhelming you, or it's taking over your ability to like disconnect from it, then it's too much. So of course I followed the Twitter, the X feeds back and forth between Trump and Elon, and I'm just laughing, honestly. I think it's silly. So I'm able to do that without getting energetically connected to it or charged from it. I can remove myself and just look at it neutrally. And I see the riots, and I see other things happening, and I do think that we have some difficult times to come. So my next point is, despite what I said earlier in the year, how we came out of hermit mode of 2024, I actually think right now, because of this, what I'm learning right now, it might be better for us to not necessarily go back and recluse, but we might need to be the hermits again just to get through this summer even, or just take it a couple weeks at a time or a month at a time just to like reevaluate the energy, because I think that there are a lot more things on the surface, and we don't know what's going to come to fruition, because I don't know how many people are being hijacked around the world who are buying into these narratives, who are creating them. That's why I'm doing this video, because the more people know that this is their intention, then hopefully we can save one person at a time, and it expands so that we don't buy into these anymore, and we don't they don't happen. But still, I think inevitably that there are some things that are planned. So the best thing we can do is, maybe just recluse a little bit. Maybe don't take any channeling classes or automatic writing or animal communication. I mean, as much as we want to do all of those things, and I feel bad saying that right now, but just, I'm not saying forever, just maybe a couple weeks to a month, and then reevaluate, just so we don't, and just go within and do right brain activities to strengthen your intuition and your inner knowing without necessarily trying to connect right now. So a couple things that were recommended to me in other sessions with other clients dealing with the same thing was, do puzzles, do coloring books, but the ones that, for those of you that aren't really artists, I'm not particularly a fan of coloring books, because I don't think we should be, I like to just be creative and draw whatever I want. But some people find it very relaxing to color in those very intricate flower, or whatever design they have. And you sit there and you just shut out your mind and you just color in the flower petals and the big intricate designs, or do jigsaw puzzles. Stay away from the TV as much as you can, or the programming, the news, even some of the manipulative TV shows. I mean, they're trying to have us co-create. If we watch too many scary movies, or we watch too much sad stuff, or we watch too much doom and gloom, they want us to be in that mindset. So take a break from it here and there. Movement and stretch is one that's been coming up a lot. So move your body, whatever, whether it's qigong or tai chi or Pilates or yoga or just simple stretches. You don't even have to spend money. Go in salt water, the rivers, the lakes. Go in some water if you have it near you, or just do a salt bath at home, or do a salt foot soak if you don't have a bathtub. There's always an option. Be careful what you eat. Be careful what you surround yourself with, and laugh. Listen to positive like music that makes you feel uplifted, and anything right brain to open up your heart and get that heart brain coherence going and strengthen that. One way to really um, give your body a sense of peace and calm is to declutter. I take really good care of my home and my car. I don't, I find it very relaxing when things are neat and ordered. So declutter, take the time, if you're taking a break from everything, you might have a little bit of time to do some things in your home that you have been putting off. Clean out that closet, clean that drawer, just declutter your space, because that is your temple, your sacred space, and you want to energetically have it suitable to match your frequency. And if your frequency is higher and it's expanding and it's illuminating and it's adjusting, if you're constantly in dark spaces with lots of junk around you and trash, it's really hard to keep yourself at that optimal frequency. So be mindful of your space, declutter. And just live in positive thought and gratitude as much as possible. So regardless of the negative things happening around you, I always say I'm so grateful that I'm universally supported, protected, and loved, or I'm divinely supported, universally protected and loved. Um, I just gratitude flows. When gratitude flows through your body, it really opens up your heart. And just think about what you have to be grateful for. Think about your family, your animals, um, and co-create. Instead of co-creating these doom and gloom situations, focus on the riots ending positively, or focus on the positive side of something negative that could be coming, like resolution. Instead of getting bogged down into, oh, I want these arrests and I want to see this, like all this negative, negative, negative. Just say, what would I love to see the world look like after, and focus your attention on what that looks like, and let the details work itself out. But right now, this is a very tumultuous time. Um, Spiritual evolution and ascension, no one ever said it was going to be easy in the golden age, even though we are entering it, and I do believe it's occurring. I don't think that we are at risk for it not occurring. What's happening here is they're trying their best to prolong it and tire us out. That's all it is. People tend to drown because they get tired of treading, they can't, their body gets tired and then they become weak and then they drown. They're trying to drown us by tiring us out in all of these methods. So do your best to not resist, to surrender and just flow with the current, lay on your back, put the water in your ears and just float and do your best to navigate the challenges with the smallest circle possible, the smallest group, and just be really careful how many podcasts and things that you're listening to. I certainly have been very careful about what I allow into my consciousness, into my stream of awareness. I'm very selective about what I'm listening to. And I think if we all do that through repetition, the more we do it every single day and it becomes routine and we have positive thought and intention and we ground and we go out in nature and we love our animals and we spend some time with our children and we read that book we've always wanted and we declutter and we just fill the time and space that we would have previously listening to things that were maybe making us feel more negative or buying into division and distraction, and you spend that time doing other things, and it might be easier for you to oscillate at that ever-changing prismic frequency that you really truly do become undetectable and undestructible and uncorruptible. And that's just the way it is. So I think in my mind, hopefully I've related properly, but I feel like we can get through this pretty easily if we all work together. And if we know all of these things, knowing is half the battle. Now we know how to strategize and work against what they're trying to create. So there's heavy AI influence going on right now, and they're going to pound it in through religion, through political arena, through tragedy, through the movie programs that are coming out, through the music that they're putting out. They're going to do it. They're going to do it any way that they can. So we hold the power, and at the end, no matter what. And we have the ability to focus on our autonomic nervous system, get yourself into the parasympathetic mode, where you are no longer living off of cortisol, and you have the endorphins and dopamine running through your body, and you are more calm and balanced. And then your mind can't be hijacked because you're thinking more clearly, you're more neutral, and you're looking at everything and all the decisions you're making from a bird's eye view, from a macro, and not the micro where you're charged and emotional. Bring yourself back. Make an intention and effort every day to put yourself as the eagle looking over your life, balanced. I've stretched, I did my breathing, I released what's not in my highest good, what I can't control. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to focus my attention on what I can control and that's what your thoughts are and what and how you are contributing to the collective right now. Yeah, I think that was everything. 9 times out of 10, I finished and I realized that I forgot to say something super important. So it is what it is. Hopefully this was helpful, and I didn't lose anybody, and I am very long-winded, but I like to be thorough, and that's just how I am. So thank you, and I appreciate for those of you that actually listen to my videos and stay with me in my thought process, because that's how I'm able to be more clear and precise. I'm not trying to rush through it. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I hope this video has found all of you well. Please don't leave this video in fear. This was meant to be uplifting, believe it or not, so that you are empowered because you know what to do. So you know what to do. If you have recommendations, let me know. Until next time, I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.